This week, I would like to discuss the Grimoire. The Grimoire is a very important tool for the Satanist. It's more than a notebook. It is more of a recipe book. The practitioner and true student of magic always keeps an exact record of his or her operations. He or she records that in the Grimoire, a living document. There's nothing special about the format that a practitioner uses. The content is what is important and truly value added. It can be as simple as a notebook or as elaborate as a published document that is bound in the traditional sense, using fine leather for the cover, and transcribed onto expensive parchment paper or other fine stationery paper. The important thing is you should accurately record the results of your workings. It is just as important to record failures as to record successful operations or workings. Now, I do not believe that there are true failures for those who are diligently practicing magic. The failure really does not exist for the practitioner simply because even though an operation does not produce what he or she desires, it's still valuable information, and information that should be recorded in the Grimoire. Knowing what works as well as knowing what does not work is most important in the practice of magic. The secret to magic is the ability to create or achieve a certain result with consistency. Without this valuable asset, you're not going to be able to move into higher satanic magic practices, since they are predominantly based upon consistent results of the lower level processes. Competent occult magicians simply rearrange or cluster effective processes to achieve the desired foundation of which they can begin to build the higher level processes. A grimoire is somewhat like a recipe book. You record your potions, your actions, your rituals, perhaps your practice of alchemy, along with personal notes and impressions. You may want to encode your text in some manner. This is where the witch's alphabet really adds value, because you can easily encode your writing and decipher it just as easily and quickly when you really need it. All you truly need is casual cover from passive readers. And if you can do that, then you are certainly coding your work. An interesting statistic, 60% of those dabbling in magic do not know anything about the witch's alphabet, much less know how to decipher it. Another technique that is popular for those who are bilingual is simply writing your entries in another language, or perhaps mixing your languages if you speak more than one. Simply mixing those two together with some other elements, such as the witch's alphabet, will certainly make your grimoire more personalized, and it also precludes the ability of anyone without your skill set being able to decode your messages. It is not mandatory that you write your entries in any type of code. Some practitioners are satisfied by simply adding an entry in English or their other mother tongue, and that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. The reason why you might want to encode your work is simply so the work cannot be used against you in the future. If there is a remote possibility that your grimoire may fall into the wrong hands, you will certainly want to take a precaution. If you are not concerned about your potions, spells, or rituals falling into the wrong hands to be used adversely against you, there is certainly no reason to turn your works into riddles. The true value of a grimoire is the ability to analyze the results of workings long after the events happen. Just as a chef will adjust the recipe until he or she arrives at the perfect combination of ingredients, you too must do the same thing while practicing magic. Knowing what works and what does not work, what proportions and chronological order will certainly provide value as you travel along your magical journey. Another value is recording the events that led up to the manifestation of a demon or other being. Knowing the steps that took you to that event is certainly going to be valuable to you in the future. If you know how to travel to a destination, you can repeat the travel over and over again, traveling the same way each time. You will know what to expect, the time involved, the risks which need to be mitigated, and how to prevent missing your turn into the destination. In your magical practice, you can tie 3 consistent operations together, always resulting as you desire. It will be very easy for you to make longer chains of these consistent events. The longer the chain, the more complex the ritual or operation, and the greater the reward. If you string letters of any alphabet together, you can create words, and those words can form sentences which accurately articulate your thoughts. The same is true with magic. If you string small elements together, they can form larger operations, which can be assembled together in a chronological order, forming a magical statement. Several magical statements placed together will result in a magical operation that fulfills your desires consistently. If this sounds confusing, do not worry. As you travel along your magical journey, you will grow more and more familiar with these concepts of magic. Diligently record everything in your grimoire so you can review and analyze the results of each and every operation and ritual. If you are practicing magic alone or in a group, the grimoire provides just as much value. For the lone practitioner, taking a few moments after the ritual to decompress and gather your thoughts is a wonderful way to come down from a huge magical high. Go to my blog, satanicmagic.wordpress.com. Stay connected. So until next time, this has been aleister-nacht. Satanic blessings.